So finally, I'm going to actually talk about the co-op. I get a lot of the same questions over and over about the co-op, so I'm going to go over some of those questions, and then hopefully I won't have to text you exactly the same thing that I just texted your friend 10 minutes ago, is my hope. My thumbs don't work very well. I'm really bad at texting. So on this page that I already showed you, it does have in brief some information about the co-op and about the membership tiers. I'm actually going to go down here to these links. These have a little bit more complete information than what is on the website, and this will be up to date, these links down here. Whereas the ones up here, this one we update every semester with what's going on. So let me show you first about the co-op. Here's how this works. We just get together and we provide classes for our kids. That's the basics of it. But in order to provide classes for the kids, we need everybody to volunteer and we need everybody to help pay for things with us. So what we do is about a month before classes start, hopefully, we're not real hard and fast about this, we'll start a registration. The registration comes in 3 parts. First, you fill out a family registration form, and there is a link here. And there will be a current link on the website. We have a specific page for the fall term already up, and we don't have the links up yet, but they will be there by the time registration starts. You fill out a family form, and then once you're done with the family form, where you talk about who's in your family, how old they are there any nutritional things we need to know about, or other things that we need to know about, that part then leads you to a Sign Up Genius form where you will volunteer. And volunteering is very important, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But everybody needs to volunteer, and you will need to sign up for at least 1 volunteer slot. And then once you've signed up, one of us on the board are going to review that and make sure you understand what the volunteering is and that you've done all of that correctly, that we have all of the information how we need it. And then we will email you a link to register for classes. So it might take a few hours before you get the link to actually register for your classes. Co-op dates, like I said before, we meet for 6 weeks in the fall and 6 weeks in the spring. Right now we're meeting at the McCook Christian Church. Hopefully we'll continue to meet there for many years to come. If not, we'll let you know where it changes. Right now our schedule is every Tuesday for 6 weeks from 9 to 12 in the morning. We have some classes for every age. We have childcare classes for anybody under 5 years old. Those are mostly what they say, childcare, with a few activities and a snack that happens in there. That is mostly designed so that you as a parent can volunteer so that we can run all of these classes. Also from 9 to 12, we will have classes for all kids ages 5 through 18. We will have 2 classes available for every age group all of the time. So this term we are going to have 4 class sessions. And so in the first class session, we would have 2 classes for ages 5 through, and we haven't solidified the numbers, so hopefully this is about where it'll be. 2 classes for ages 5 through 9, 2 classes for ages 8 through 12, or maybe 8 through 13. We haven't decided specifically, and then 2 classes also for ages 13 and up, something like that. So your children will always have a choice between classes. They may not like their choices. That's, I guess, something you get to deal with. And then from 12 to 2, anybody who's over 9 years old, we will have a social club. So we have a little game club for ages 9 to 12, and then for ages 13 and up, there is a teen club, and the teens run that club entirely, which is really, really fun to see what they come up with. It also means that we don't always know until the day of what exactly they're going to do, which is also part of how it works. But it's just a chance for them to do things together, basically. Okay, so let me tell you, this co-op is anybody who is a homeschooler and is willing to drive to McCook on Tuesdays. Okay, you join each term, and you can join. basically you decide if you're going to be tier 1 or tier 2. Here's what that means. If you do a more significant volunteer, then you will be at tier 1 and you will pay less than if you were doing a lesser amount of volunteering. So, and I'll show you these tiers in a minute. The lesser amount right now is $35 a child or $100 for your entire family. And that's for the semester, for the 6-week semester. So if you have more than 3 children, obviously you would want to be paying $100 per family. If you volunteer at tier 2, which is volunteer commitments that don't require as much time, the cost is $50 a child or $150 per family. Now, we don't want anybody to not come because of finances if we can afford it. So if finances are a problem for you and you're going, I want to do this, I would love to volunteer, but cash-wise, I don't know if I can commit to this, then contact us, please. And we'll review your case, and we will also look at our finances for the semester and see if we can afford to reduce membership fee for you. And then we'll let you know, hey, yeah, we can reduce it or we can waive it or whatever. Also, if you cannot volunteer during co-op, it is essential that we have a lot of people there volunteering or we can't run it. But if you cannot because you're working, your spouse is working, whoever normally watches your child is working, you don't have anybody that you could pull to be a volunteer during co-op time, contact us. We might be able to work it out. Again, that depends on whether we have enough volunteers already, because it's sometimes very difficult to fill all of the volunteer spots. We do run a background check on all volunteers working with children. The way this works is you pay that fee and you don't pay anything else, okay? You don't have to pay extra for specific classes. We provide supplies except for some basic supplies. Some teachers might say, hey, bring a pen or pencil, bring papers, bring a binder, those types of things. Those things you don't have to pay for. Or you would provide and we would pay for things like art supplies or those types of things. Anybody who is teaching, who is a member of the co-op, for example, me, my kids are taking classes. I'm a member of the co-op and I'm going to teach several classes. I won't get paid to teach those classes. Teaching is part of what gets me the lower rate up here with tier 1. But if you are not a member of the co-op, we did have a couple of teachers that we pulled in last semester because we just needed an expert and we didn't have anybody who was a member who could teach that class. They will be paid a fair wage. That's part of what our membership fees cover. I already talked about those things. Anyway, this term at least, our classes are all 40 minutes each. There is a snack time just for the younger children. We are not providing lunch. It ends at noon, so you need to go home for lunch, or if students are staying for social clubs, they should bring a sack lunch and eat it there. We love feedback. There is, I think I showed you on the site, here's the site, this right here, if you want to suggest a class, please let us know what you think we should do, because that makes it more fun. Tell us anything. As I said before, every class we do require there to be 2 adults in the room at all times. Children can run clubs or classes if they're really competent, but they still need an adult with them. So what happens when people are sick? We ran into this a lot last time. Basically, every member of the co-op, we are considering you an on-call substitute, and we will call you up and say, hey, so-and-so can't be here today. Can you come in and just be the assistant for this class today? An assistant just sits there and is there for behavioral issues. If necessary, they help the teacher if you want to help the teacher, but really you're just another adult in the room to provide security. If the teacher is sick, then usually the assistant for that class can step up and teach that class. Sometimes we've had to get a separate substitute who could teach the class. So far we have not had to do this, but it got close once where there was nobody to teach a class. The teacher was sick. We couldn't find somebody who was prepared to teach the class for the teacher. If that happens, we will provide activities that are more social in nature, games, something like that, to do it during that class time for that one day. But that would just be a for this day, this teacher is sick type of thing. Right now, our finances are cash. We may have a bank account set up by the fall, we'll see. But finances are run by our two financial officers, which right now are Keely Wilson and Jody Cobb, and they keep track of all of our finances. You can see everything, it's all transparent. On the Google Sheet that's linked here, it's also on the website down here.